where I come from, I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I've worked in the private sector for about 24 years of my life. And I transitioned to the public sector, where I'm now in investment promotion since January 2021. And I'm now the chairperson and the CEO of the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board. The board is targeted with promoting investment and facilitating investment into Namibia, but at the same time also coordinating SME activities across all the levers of the economy. So our main mandate is really about how do we attract both foreign and domestic direct investment so that we can use those ones as a tool to create employment for our people in Namibia and to solve our socio-economic challenges. So that is really who we are and why we exist. Currently, the one project that we are excited about, and it's not one project actually, it's an entire industry, is the green hydrogen. So green hydrogen is something which is a revolutionary project for the world. And we know that the world is talking about net zero in 2050. And if we are talking about net zero, and every country have come up with their national determined contribution, every country is trying to reduce their carbon emissions so that we can come to a planet that is sustainable and where we can keep on living for all of us. So in order to reduce the use of fossil fuels and the likes, one of the solutions is what is called green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is, of course, using hydrogen, which can be used to power, whether it is vehicles, whether it is aeroplanes, whether it is industries, but of course it will be done not in the form of green hydrogen, but in the form of various synthetic fuels. But then hydrogen becomes green when you produce it with energy. So you take water and then you use electrolysis and then you produce green hydrogen. And when it is green is when you have used energy that is coming from renewable sources. Now it has been found that Namibia, because of our abundant resources of solar and wind, plus large vast of land, because we are the second least densely populated country in the world, as well as the proximity to the sun, where we have got 1,500 kilometers of neighboring to the sea, we are one of the few, probably one of the top 4 countries in the world that can produce green hydrogen at a reasonable cost. And because of that one, what the government did then, our president identified green hydrogen as one of the game changer projects for Namibia. And it's an industry that we started to champion since September 2020, when the president made the announcement at the United Nations General Assembly. In March, he put it in our Harambee Prosperity Plan 2. And then in 2021, around about August, we went on a request for proposal to get the first project that will target to produce green hydrogen that will be converted maybe to ammonia at large scales. Since then, we announced the winning, the preferred bidder at COP26 in November 2021. And then by November 2022 at COP27 in Egypt, we made commitment as to when we are going to sign the feasibility study implementation agreement with the developer that has been identified. We reach an agreement with the EU where they are going to support Namibia with green hydrogen as well as critical raw minerals that are required in the development of these new technologies. And then, of course, we are also talking about various other institutional changes that we need to make within Namibia. So green hydrogen as a new industry and looking at the various projects in that industry is something that is exciting. The Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board is one of the 4 institutions that has been appointed by the president to the interministerial committee that is coordinating this project in Namibia. Yeah, of course, the challenge is let's look at its speed. And speed because, number one, the industry is very, very new. And therefore, there is a lot of things in the development of green hydrogen that are not yet established. So for example, if you are talking about green hydrogen itself, you cannot just transport green hydrogen from Namibia to Europe where the current demand is. And therefore, you need to find ways of saying, yes, you can produce green hydrogen in Namibia, but you need to convert it to something else in order to be able to transport it. So it's talking about how do we work on that. And then the cost of green hydrogen. So fossil fuel has been here for a long time, and therefore the cost is known. But green hydrogen currently, the cost is very high, and therefore whatever project is going to produce green hydrogen is going to produce it at costs that are at this stage very much higher than fossil fuel, and therefore the replacement is quite high. And therefore you need to find governments that are interested in so much decarbonization that they will almost offer subsidies for the development of green hydrogen. The other one is the regulation. Because it's a new industry, we have been working on it where there is not yet a regulatory regime. And while it took us very long to implement the feasibility agreement between us and the developer, who was identified more than a year ago, and we are still to sign the agreement, is because of all these unknowns, and because one cannot really commit because there's a lot of changes that are coming through. And what they're saying is, of course, the first green hydrogen projects will be much more expensive than the second wave or the third wave, and therefore the first developers will have to pay the cost for the future ones that are coming, and therefore the current developer will want to be compensated when other developers come in the future and their projects are cheaper. So that and the absence of regulation, so you cannot say, okay, wait until we put the regulations in place, because then that will not help you speed the process up. But at the same time, you cannot say just speed up without regulation. You do need to understand the implication. So that complication, because it's a nascent industry, that is actually what one of the challenges are. And of course, then the comparison of the cost when it comes to comparing with fossil fuel is one of the challenges. However, we have, of course, formed very good relationship with various development partners. The good thing is that there's many countries in the world that are committed to decarbonization, and therefore the point there is, how do we find solutions? So it's countries like Germany who says, definitely we are going to go green hydrogen. And if we are going to go with green hydrogen, how do we support countries that are committed to developing this nascent industry? And that is the level where we are currently. Yes, I think, of course, the message is there that, yes, when we go into something, we have to be committed. But at the same time, almost like, how do you fast track something while at the same time being realistic as to what is possible? Like I've talked about now, green hydrogen, the cost implication is quite challenging, but the benefit in the long run is quite beneficial. So in there, you have to give up something while at the same time push for something. And that, if you have got two people at the extreme end of both of those conversations, then you end up in a place where you can be paralyzed, where you don't make a decision, because one is saying, it doesn't matter what the cost is, this planet is the only one that we have, let us push. But the other one is saying, if we cannot afford it and we push it, we are going to have people that are poor today, and then we have nobody to live on the planet anyway that we are saving. How do we get it done? So the point then is, how do we listen to each other so that we get away from a conversation of either or, and in the conversation of this and that one is. So if we talk about, for example, in the energy sector, and we talk about just transition, and we have got Namibia, which is a classic example where we have gotten recent discovery of oil. And the question is, Namibia, can you go on exploring your oil? Will it not do damage? Should you not just stick on green hydrogen? But the point is, yes, but at this stage, the demand for green hydrogen, the cost for green hydrogen, the investment for green hydrogen, it will take time, it's got challenges, but at the same time, we have got high levels of inequalities, we've got high levels of poverty, we have got high level of unemployment, and we need something that can help us change that. So how do we talk about a just transition that will help us deal with the problems that we have today, while at the same time making sure that we are committed to the solutions of tomorrow, so that net zero by 2050 is not compromised, but it's not compromised by Namibia being the one that is giving up everything, but every country being committed to the commitments that we have made individually.